Arthur Guinness was an Irish businessman, philanthropist and politician, best known as a member of the Guinness brewing dynasty. Born into one of Ireland's wealthiest families, he was the great-grandson of Arthur Guinness, the founder of the Guinness Brewery. Educated at Eton and Trinity College, Dublin, Arthur Guinness pursued a political career, serving as a Member of Parliament for Dublin before being elevated to the peerage as Baron Ardilaun in the year 1880. Beyond politics, he was deeply committed to public service and philanthropy. He funded numerous projects in Dublin, including the restoration of St. Patrick's Cathedral and the development of public parks, most notably St. Stephen's Green, which he landscaped and reopened to the public. A lover of nature and heritage, he also invested in the preservation of forests and historic buildings. Lord Ardilaun is remembered as a symbol of Anglo-Irish nobility, who used his wealth for the public good during a time of great change in Ireland. This is his story. Arthur Guinness, born in the year 1840, was the eldest son of Sir Benjamin Guinness, the head of the renowned Guinness family, and the heir to one of Ireland's most influential brewing legacies. From an early age, he was immersed in a world of privilege, responsibility, and public service. His education reflected the stature of his lineage. He attended the prestigious Eton College in England, a traditional path for young men of prominent Anglo-Irish families. He later studied at Trinity College, Dublin, Ireland's leading university, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in the year 1862. These formative years equipped him with classical learning and a refined intellect. Over the course of its first 3 generations, the Guinness Brewery had grown from modest beginnings into the largest and most successful brewery in Ireland, renowned for its rich dark stout. Its reputation extended far beyond Irish shores, with exports reaching across Europe, the Americas, and even into parts of Africa, making Guinness a truly global enterprise by the mid-19th century. When Sir Benjamin Guinness, who had greatly expanded the family business and solidified its legacy, passed away in the year 1868, the stewardship of the brewery was entrusted to his sons, Arthur, Benjamin, and Edward. This transition marked out not only the continuation of a powerful industrial dynasty, but also a new chapter in the evolution of the Guinness name. Under their leadership, the brewery would continue to thrive, laying the foundations for what would become one of the most iconic brands in the world. Under the capable stewardship of Arthur Guinness and his brothers, the family brewery entered a new era of prosperity. Despite the growing influence and temperance movement, which condemned the social harms of alcohol consumption, Guinness was often viewed more favourably than harder spirits such as gin and whiskey. Advocates of moderation even recommended it as milder and a more wholesome alternative, allowing the company to maintain and expand its market during a time of shifting public opinion. Arthur's middle brother Benjamin and his sister Anne inherited generous estates and financial settlements. They would soon play no role in the business operations. The brewery remained firmly under the direction of Arthur and Edward. In the first decade of their leadership, Guinness experienced an extraordinary surge in production and sales. In the year 1868, the brewery sold approximately 350,000 barrels of stout, a number that doubled by the year 1876, reaching nearly 779,000 barrels. This remarkable expansion laid the foundation for even greater achievements in the years ahead. By the close of the 19th century, annual sales would surpass 1 million barrels, cementing Guinness as not just a national institution, but a global icon of Irish enterprise. Despite his wealth, social standing, and deep involvement in public life, Arthur Guinness led a personal life that was often marked by solitude and discretion. Though he fulfilled the expectations of his class by marrying Olivia White in the year 1871, a union between two prominent Anglo-Irish families, the marriage was notably childless, and accounts suggest that it may have been more of a matter of social propriety than romantic companionship. Olivia herself was an accomplished and independent-minded woman, and the two are often described as having lived largely separate lives, especially in later years. While no concrete evidence exists to confirm or deny the nature of Arthur's private affections, some historians and biographers have speculated that he may have been homosexual, a theory drawn not from scandal or explicit documentation, but rather from the patterns of his life. He maintained a reserved and intensely private demeanour. In Victorian society, especially among the aristocracy, discussions of sexuality, particularly same-sex attraction, was strictly taboo. Should Arthur have been gay, as some have suggested, it is likely that this aspect of his identity would have been carefully hidden, even from those closest to him. The legal and social consequences of such an admission at the time would have been severe. The act itself was once punishable by death in Britain. This harsh penalty was amended with the passage of the Offences Against the Persons Act in the year 1861, which abolished the death sentence and instead imposed a minimum punishment of 10 years imprisonment. Later, the Criminal Law Amendment Act of the year 1885 further expanded the legal restrictions, introducing a new offence of gross indecency between men, punishable by up to 2 years in prison. These laws forced same-sex relationships into the shadows of society, driving them beyond the bounds of public record and social acceptance. As a result, we are left with only fragments of anything at all when it comes to understanding Arthur's private life and any intimate relationships he may have had. In the year 1868, Arthur Guinness was elected as the Conservative Member of Parliament for the city of Dublin, a role that aligned with his family's political and social standing. However, his tenure was short-lived. Within a year, the election was declared void following revelations that his agents had engaged in corrupt practices, including offering bribes of £5 per vote, an extraordinary sum at the time. The court determined that Arthur himself had no knowledge of these actions, and while his innocence was upheld, the damage had been done. It would take 5 more years before he would return to Parliament, successfully reclaiming his seat in the year 1874. He served until the year 1880 under the leadership of Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli during a turbulent period in Irish history, marked by deepening divisions. Political and religious tensions were intensifying. Unionists like Arthur were determined to maintain the union with Britain, while growing numbers of nationalists sought Irish self-governance. At the same time, Ireland's religious divide between Protestants and Catholics continued to shape loyalties and fuel unrest. Arthur, like generations of his family before him, was a staunch Protestant and an unwavering Unionist. His convictions did not end with parliamentary service. In later years, he acquired 2 Unionist-leaning newspapers and gave public support to the Irish Unionist Alliance. This clear political stance, shared by the Guinness Brewery itself, was met with resentment and anger from Irish Republicans, who saw such positions as a betrayal of the Irish identity. In the year 1876, Arthur stepped away from the family business, selling his half share in the Guinness Brewery to his younger brother Edward for the remarkable sum of £600,000. Just 4 years later, in the year 1880, he was elevated to the peerage and became Baron Ardilaun, an honour that recognised his public service as a figurehead of Anglo-Irish conservatism. Like many members of the Guinness family, Arthur Guinness was a generous philanthropist who devoted himself to numerous public causes. Perhaps his most celebrated achievement was the acquisition, landscaping, and generous gift of St. Stephen's Green, the central public park of Dublin. Following its transformation, the park was officially opened to the public on the 27th of July in the year 1880, and has since been lovingly maintained by the Commissioners of Public Works in Ireland. A statue honouring Arthur stands in the park, directly opposite the Royal College of Surgeons, commemorating his lasting legacy. Arthur Guinness passed away on the 20th of January in the year 1915, at the age of 74. Fittingly, he was laid to rest on the grounds of All Saints' Church, a place of worship whose construction he had generously funded many years before. He died without heirs, leaving behind no children. I would like to give a huge thank you to all of my members. Your contribution is valuable to the continuation of the channel, and I appreciate you all immensely. A special thank you to John Seitz. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you all next week for another History Profile.